everyone. Welcome to the world's most famous arena. Welcome to the Mecca of boxing. Welcome to Madison Square Garden. This venue has hosted the greatest boxing matches in the history of the sport. We were just here a couple of months ago for a historic event headlined by the great Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, and we're back on August 6th for an event that, dare I say, this venue has never quite seen before. It is co-produced by Showtime Pay-Per-View and Most Valuable Promotions. It is distributed by Showtime Pay-Per-View as well. It is a very interesting and, dare I say, a matchup that not a lot of people a year ago could have ever predicted. Not here, not between these two gentlemen. It's a double main event show headlined first by Jake Paul, the problem child, 5-0 as a pro boxer, coming off a massive knockout victory over Tyron Woodley back in December, going up against Hasim Rahman Jr., 12-1 as a pro, over 100 amateur bouts as well, the son of the former heavyweight champion of the world, the great Hasim Rahman. And of course, also on the card, like I said, double main event, you've got the return of one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters on the planet, regardless of gender, the one and only, the pride of Puerto Rico, the pride of New York, Amanda Serrano returning as well to defend her featherweight titles against Brenda Carabajal. You got those four great fighters on the bill as well. You've got a 140-pound prospect, blazing superstar named Brandon Lee on the card as well. You've got Ashton H2O Silv, the latest addition to the MVP roster on the card, fighting at MSG. Something for everyone. August 6th, the official sportsbook partner of the event is FanDuel. Everyone is here. Showtime Pay-Per-View, MVP. I am hyped. He is hyped. He is hyped. Before we get to the fighters, before we get to your questions, everyone watching all over the world, this great event at this great venue, home, by the way, of the 2023 NBA champion New York Knicks. I don't know if you guys heard the news, but that is happening. I want to welcome the Executive Vice President of MSG Marquee Events and Operations, Mr. Joel Fisher, to the podium.
Thanks, Ariel, and I like what you say about the Knicks. We here at the Garden are incredibly honored. We're the Mecca of boxing, and we are incredibly honored to host this fight between Jake Paul and Hasim Rahman Jr. As you know, we've worked closely with Jake and his entire team recently. Jake was an incredibly great partner. He's really into the business of boxing, was a real supporter of women's boxing, but we also know that Jake is also really into boxing himself, and he's really passionate about it, and I'm sure he's in tremendous shape. We want to welcome Hasim here. I'd like to personally thank you for stepping up quickly and stepping down, and what I mean by that, in weight. So we appreciate everything you're doing for that, and as Ariel mentioned, you're following in your father's footsteps, who fought here and won in 2004. The promotion we had a number of months ago with Katie and Amanda was tremendous. It was historic. It was one of the greatest nights of boxing that we've ever had here at the Garden. It was a pleasure to work both with Katie and Amanda. Amanda is one of the best people, boxers, just people that I've ever worked with, honestly, and she's just been tremendous. We know that she'll be ready. Brenda's not here, but we'll look forward to welcoming her for her first fight here. Before I leave, I really want to thank MVP Promotions, specifically Nikisa, and his whole team. He's been just an incredible partner. Like Jake, you guys have been great to work with. It's been an interesting road to get here, as we all know, but it's been great, and we just can't wait for August 6th. I want to thank Steven Espinoza and Showtime for stepping up. They've been great partners throughout the years, and we're thrilled to be working with them again. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my team, Sal Federico, Joanna Esposito, and Larry Torres, for working on this event. So this will be a tremendous night. a great event, a great fight, and I would say don't miss it. Be here on August 6th. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. And if I can add to that, right now, MSG.com tickets are on sale. I hear they are moving quite fast, Mr. Paul, Mr. Rahman, so that is good news. Tickets on sale right now, MSG.com. That's where you can get the tickets for this great event on August 6th. Now, next up to the podium, I'd like to welcome Mr. Steven Espinoza, the president of Showtime Sports.
Thanks, Ariel. The first half of 2022 has been a banner 6 months for Showtime, filled with knockouts, upsets, unforgettable moments, legacy-making fights. We crowned an undisputed super welterweight champion. We had Errol Spence Jr. moving one step closer to being undisputed himself, had a variety of ultra-competitive fights, high-stakes action, and star-making performances week after week. And the best is yet to come in the second half of the year. Stay tuned. But as we turn the page to August 6th, we're offering a different kind of event, but maybe not all that different. Herbert Maori Slade. Herbert Slade, anybody recognize that name? How about Jem Mace? Anyone? Herbert Slade and Jem Mace were the two boxers who participated in the very first professional boxing match here at Madison Square Garden. February 2nd, 1883. That's right, 1883. First professional boxing match here at the Garden. That's almost 140 years ago. If you're curious, the result was a 3-round no decision, so it's sort of anticlimactic. It would be a huge understatement to say that there's a lot of history here at the Garden. Since that very first professional boxing event, there have been 1,748 more events. That means a total of nearly 1,750 events. But in all those shows, more than 1,700 boxing events, there's never been an event quite like this one. And that's because there's never been a professional boxer like Jake Paul. There's never been a boxer who could headline a pay-per-view in Madison Square Garden after just 5 fights. Vasily Lomachenko did something similar. He headlined the Garden in his 6th pro fight at 5-1. But Jake's doing it 1 fight sooner, headlining a pay-per-view event, and doing it without the benefit of 400 amateur fights and 2 gold medals. What Jake is doing is remarkable, but more importantly, you can no longer call it a hobby or a fad or a stunt. This is a full-time profession for Jake. A full-time commitment. Boxing is now his calling card, his #1 pursuit. He's 5-0 with 4 knockouts. He's facing a fighter in Hasim Rahman Jr., who's 12-1 with 6 KOs. Rahman Jr., as Ariel mentioned, had about 100 amateur fights. He's been trained by many of the greats. He's worked with Emmanuel Stewart, Calvin Ford, and now Yoel Judah, who steered his son Zab to incredible heights in the sport. Most fighters with 5 fights don't face boxers with that level of experience. But Jake isn't your typical boxer. You know, the fact that he's headlining a pay-per-view, his 3rd pay-per-view with Showtime pay-per-view, is a testament to his popularity and drawing power. Now, Jake could have taken an easier touch, but that's not Jake. After Tommy Fury pulled out of the fight, Jake and his team went looking for an even bigger challenge, and they found it. They found a tougher challenge that probably he should be taking. An opponent who's bigger than Jake, more experienced as an amateur, more experienced as a pro, a real challenge. Why is that? Why take a fight that almost everyone around you is telling you not to? Well, there's one reason. Jake Paul's on a mission to prove himself as a credible professional boxer. And what he's doing is unprecedented. But in a different way, it's really not unprecedented. Strip away the celebrity status, Jake's success as a content creator, and what he is doing, what he's striving for, is no different than any other professional boxer. It's no different than what Hasim Rahman Jr. is striving for credibility, for respect, striving to improve skills, doing all the hard work behind the scenes to put it all on the line in one night in front of a massive crowd here at the Garden. Jake's coming off one of the most spectacular knockouts in recent memory, December over Tyron Woodley. The clip of that knockout is one of the most viewed, not the most viewed, in the history of Showtime sports. Jake clearly moves the needle like no one else, and we at Showtime are proud to be in business with him, and he is clearly bringing the sport to a new audience. The same can be said of Amanda Serrano, who inspires multitudes of young girls every time she fights. Amanda's fight in the Garden with Katie Taylor was the first women's fight in history to headline at MSG, and it delivered with a huge crowd and a fantastic fight. We're also honored to have Serrano back on Showtime. We're proud of our history in women's boxing and proud to have Amanda back for the 5th time. The Showtime telecast starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It also includes separate bouts with 2 of the sport's most exciting and promising young boxers, Brandon Lee, 25-0, 22 knockouts, Ashton Silve, 7-0 with 7 knockouts. All of us at Showtime Sports are thrilled to be back here at the Garden for the first time in nearly 10 years. It's been way overdue. We thank Joe Fisher and all the Madison Square Garden staff for having the vision to take this event, sign on to us in what will be a very exciting evening. Before we get to live action, of course, there will be all access, bringing you inside the ropes, behind the scenes. That'll premiere July 30th, and we'll see you on August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Espinoza. All right, let's talk to some of the particulars up here. You know these people and need no introduction. That's Amanda Serrano, Jake Paul, Hasim Rahman Jr., and Hasim Rahman Sr. Amanda, if I could just start with you. I remember before the April fight, it was a whole big deal. She's fighting at MSG, moving from Hulu to the big arena. Now this is old hat for you. Now you're like, this is MSG. Now it's kind of gotten like, you know, just another day at the park for you, right? Fighting at the big arena.
It's going to be hard to get me out of it. No, I am truly honored to have such a fast turnaround. You know, the fight with Katie Taylor was a huge event, not just for females, but in boxing in general. And I'm super happy to be back at MSG with my manager, Jake Paul, alongside me. Now, we get to show the world that we're fighters, and he takes off his promoter turtleneck and puts on his boxing boots to show that, you know, he's a fighter as well.
And just curious, you're now going back down to featherweight. Why was this? I keep hearing this was a really important fight for you, that you really wanted to go back down for this next fight. Why so important for you to defend these titles?
Well, these are my babies. I worked super hard for these belts, you know. I went up to 135 my last 2 fights. The organizations gave me the opportunity to have non-title fights. To get this fight with Katie Taylor, I'm not a legitimate 135-pounder. I'm a featherweight, and I being a pound-for-pound girl for my belts, for 2 of my belts. So these I work hard for, and I'm a legitimate featherweight, and that's why I need to defend these titles. And then after that, it's, you know, on to the next one, to the other champions.
I want to ask Hasim Sr. a question or two if I can. As Mr. Fisher said, around 20 or so years ago, you fought in this venue once. Now to see your son, top of the bill, world's most famous arena, fighting someone like Jake Paul, what do you make of all of this?
I'm excited like everybody else. I don't just know how I'm gonna feel when Jake's 100 billion fans hate my son. After the fight, they're gonna hate him.
How do you feel about the fact that it seems as though Jake has chosen your son as his next opponent? That perhaps, as I saw in an interview with your son in Fight Hype recently, that he feels as though Jake is looking past him or thinks that he's the easy matchup for him.
Yeah, obviously we find it disrespectful because Jake is a real fighter. He's a real fighter, and we respect that. But I just think that he's moving too quick. I think he picked the wrong guy at the wrong time. So just
moving too quick for your slow ass son who's not going to be able to hit me. Yeah, you're right. I am moving too quick, fast as shit.
See, he'll Ric Flair with the WWE stuff again. But I mean, when we get in the ring, then we get in the ring. So,
you're not in the ring, sir. Your son's in the ring. He can't fight for you.
But I am talking. Excuse me for talking while you interrupting. Why you being rude at the
You're saying we in the ring. We're not
I'm in there with
you're
him.
not in the ring. It's me versus your son. And that's what he doesn't understand either. He thinks he's you. He thinks he's you. And that's his biggest mistake. He's not you. And August 6th, people are gonna see that. I'm ending that whole ass legacy that y'all whole ass family got. It's over with. August 6th.
Well, if you want to really talk about legacy and family, then after he beat you, I got a little brother that's a cruiserweight that you can rematch my son when he beat you for the second time, and I got a little brother, Muslim Case, undefeated, can beat your brother.
I already beat his ass in sparring too, and he knows that too. We got the footage.
So you can just be all about
They
that.
be with this footage stuff, man. They be putting out what they want to put out. Did you put out the footage when you turned around and ran away from me in the ring? Why you ain't put that out? You turned your back and ran like a I ain't gonna cuss, but you turned your back and ran. So why you ain't put that out? You put out what you want to put out. Content creator. You're gonna see it on August 6th, man.
If I can ask you, Hasim Jr., yesterday Jake said on my show that there was some doubt as to whether or not you would show up. Can you clear that whole story up? Were you threatening not to show up? Were you asking for more?
Bismillah. First and foremost, I want to thank Allah for this opportunity and just to be here on this platform, just to be at this stage. This is such a huge opportunity. I never ever once even second guessed or even doubted the outcome of this fight. I did no negotiation through the internet, and I'm not going to. But whatever they sent me, and they said, look, this is take it or leave it. Either you take it or you leave it, or ain't no fight. And I took it, and that's that. We here right now. So all this BS about going back and forth about everybody. Well, we know that 'cause we've been in this game a long time. But all that stuff back and forth about the money or whatever. I'm gonna be the lowest paid opponent, but I'm the biggest. I'm the biggest. I'm the one that's giving you any credibility. None of your other opponents gave you any credibility. So why shouldn't I get more than them? But like I said, I'm not here to negotiate with the media. I'm not here to do none of that. I'm here to end this facade that he's calling a career. So we're gonna see. We will, and we're gonna see on August 6th when Jake Paul fall. We definitely gonna see that.
Jake, I've heard them say now a couple times, sparring isn't fighting. That sparring match that you guys had about 2 years ago isn't exactly what's to come, and that you're perhaps putting a little too much stock into that. What's your response?
Well, I don't know why they're so worried. The fact that they keep on saying that's a telltale sign. Sparring isn't fighting because, I mean, you're probably a little bit nervous about what happened. But obviously,
What happened? What happened? What happened?
Obviously,
What happened?
Under the
Nothing. You be
lights.
bringing up the spawn.
Under
You don't
the
want
light-
posted the spawn.
Under
Oh,
the,
you don't like getting interrupted, do you?
under the lights, 10-ounce gloves, of course, is different. That's why I do this sport. I don't do this sport to spar. I do this shit to fight. And when he gets under the lights, Madison
You ain't
Square
fought
Garden, in front
nobody.
of
You
20,000
ain't fought
people.
nobody. Nobody. Everybody you fought have been their debut.
Who have you fought?
Everybody you fought been their debut.
Who have you fought? Harold Woodley, UFC champion.
20 years
Ben
old.
Askren,
What are you
champion.
talking about?
Nate Robinson,
Champions in MMA.
NBA,
Champions in
all-star
MMA. NBA champion. No boxers.
And that's why you're next
No
on the
boxers.
list. You're
No
next on the
boxers.
list. You're
You
next
ain't
on the
fought-
list.
I know.
You're next on the
I know.
list.
And
That's
this
why
will be
I'm
your
fighting
first
you.
love.
No
This will be your
shit.
first love.
No shit. That's
Don't
why
turn
I'm
your back
fighting
and
you.
run like you did when we sparred. Don't do that. And I will be using both hands.
You'll
Trust
see.
me.
You'll
and
see.
I will be using both hands.
You'll see. I got something for you.
I only use one hand when I spar.
Oh
I
man.
only use one hand.
I
He
would
can't
just
even
love-
spar nobody with one hand.
I would just love to put out
He can't even spar nobody with one hand. He's not even at that level. I box this man with one hand behind my back. I box this man with one hand.
Did they tell
and
you
I
how to
promise
box him
you-
and what to do?
I promise you, he turned
Did
his
they
back.
choreograph it? Did they choreograph it?
He turned his back and ran
Give
from
him
me.
some fake confidence. Did they choreograph it?
That's what's going on in his
Oh,
whole
okay.
camp. That's all they do. Look, Rob. Don't do this. Don't switch southpaw. Don't sit here and say you don't, because when I spar you, you do the same thing. It's always a handicap, and that's what I was trying to tell him. It's a handicap in here. Don't get too, you know what I'm saying, too confident. Like, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you. I've been trying to help him since I came here, but he thinks he's, I don't know what he thinks is going on, but he's definitely barking up the wrong tree. I'm gonna fuck you up. Say it again!
All right, this is tremendous theater. I want to give you guys a chance to ask some questions as well. So let's open it up and let's keep this rolling here. As you can see, no love lost between Hasim Rahman Jr. and Jake Paul. My friend, you're up first.
Yeah, hi, this is Maestro. I'm very pleased that we see a former heavyweight champion of the world right here in Hasim Rahman. Chad, yeah, round of applause. Chad, what is it about your son that you think gives Jake Paul the confidence that he seems to have to take on your son on August 6th?
Flat out, I'm gonna give you an honest answer. I don't know if my son will like it, but I'm just gonna tell the truth because that's what I do. My son has really underperformed and underprepared for pretty much all of his fights. So he won't be ready for this one.
What?
Do you agree with that, Hasim Jr.?
I think that the potential that's
What the fuck?
not been reached yet. So yeah, I agree. I think that I could definitely have performed better in all my fights. So on August 6th, we're gonna come fully prepared.
Dad, why'd you say that at the press conference, Dad?
What are you talking about? He just told you to tell the truth. This ain't nothing he ain't said to me before. What are you talking
It's
about?
bring your kid to work day.
Yeah, all right. Bring your gloves and your boots on August 6th, because I might knock you out of both of them.
Up next.
Jake, good afternoon. In your previous fights, you've shown the world that you take boxing very seriously. It's your full-time job right now. But this is the first time you're fighting a professional boxer who also takes it seriously. Does your training camp, does your preparation differ at all now?
No, nothing changes. We know he's going to come out southpaw, so I mean, fighting southpaw for the first time. But other than that, nothing really changes. You know, I fight professional boxers in the gym, spar 'em all the time, 2-3 times a week for the past 3 years. Guys way better than him. Steve Cunningham, 3-time world champion, guys like that caliber. So nothing really changes. We're prepared for this. And
So when we spar, why I couldn't turn southpaw when we spar? Why your corner and your trainers and you were so adamant about
you were
southpaw?
you turned southpaw in that
I did
too.
not.
We had the
I
footage.
did not. Go show it. Show me some.
We
Show me
have the
turn
footage.
southpaw. Show me
We have
turn
the
southpaw,
footage.
please.
We have the footage, but I'm
And
gonna let,
please,
I'm,
when you
I'm
do
gonna
show
let
the
the
footage,
fans,
when you
I'm
show
gonna,
the
I'm gonna let
footage,
the fans
when
see
you
August
show the
6th.
footage,
I'm gonna let
post
the fans see
of
the
you
footage for the
turning
first time
around.
August 6th.
Show the footage of you turning around. As soon as you get the back.
You got your ass
When
beat,
I
you
said-
know it.
How? You in here jumping on top of turnbuckles? There's no winner or loser in spawn. There's no winner or loser in spawn. So what are you talking about? I was there to work with you, to actually help you get confidence to go against a guy that was 5'5" with no fights. So what are you talking about? And I still was handicapped, boxing you with one hand. Go watch the tape.
Then why
I didn't
were
even
you-
use my right hand.
Then why were you
I didn't
so
even
mad?
use my right
Then
hand.
why were you
when
so
I
mad
backed you in
after?
the corner.
Then
when
why
I
were you
backed
so
in the
mad
corner-
after?
When I backed you in the corner.
Why were you so mad
Why
after
you turn
that?
around and run?
Why were you
turn
so
around and
mad
run?
after?
Who runs in a boxing ring? You
Why
got
were
like
you
you was
so
in a
mad
track.
after?
He's a runner. He's a track star. What's
Why
going
were you
on?
so
Why are you
mad?
running in a boxing? Do you know how to box? Have you learned that yet? Have you learned that you can't run yet?
You gonna see.
Have you learned that? Have you learned that much yet? That you can't be running in the ring? You learned that yet? It only been 18 months.
KeithIDingBoxingScene.com. My question's for Hasim Jr. Hasim, how much do you expect it to be a challenge to fight at the lowest weight of your career? And how much weight will you have to lose in training camp before the fight to get down to 200 pounds?
We already close, man. We already close. I'm not worried about the weight. I was just in camp for a fight, and then I came and I got right back in the gym. I came to New York. I was already in the gym when they called for the fight, so I'm not worried about the weight. The weight not a factor. I fought at 200 pounds for years in the amateurs. I haven't fought there as a pro yet, but I'm looking forward to bringing back them amateur days and bringing back even some things that I was doing in the amateurs that I haven't done in the pros yet. So losing some weight, right? It's almost like a fighting amateur. So losing the weight is exciting for me. It's going to open up doors for me to even do even more in the boxing ring.
I'm just curious, I don't know if you caught that. It said like fighting an amateur. Do you take exception with that comment?
No, he's gonna get beat up by a singer, a musician, a seashell collector, an amateur.
Disney boy.
I'm a
You is
Disney
not
boy.
about to
I'm a
beat me up. Who have you
YouTuber.
ever beat up?
All of these
Who
things.
have you ever beat up? You ain't beat up nobody. You ain't beat up nobody.
You sound
What?
stupid.
No, you sound stupid. Who have you beat up?
5-0.
You ain't beat
Knocked
up
out everyone I
nobody.
fought. Knocked
You
out
ain't
everyone I
beat
fought.
up nobody.
Knocked out everyone I
You
fought.
ain't beat up nobody. Anybody can get the 5-0 fighting. Nobody. Come on, man. You ain't fought nobody that boxed before. You fought everybody in their debut and then rematch somebody. Stop it, bro. Stop
Perfect,
it.
so that's why we running it. That's why you're the next opponent. No shit, you're a speed bump.
I know.
Another name on the list.
I know.
A pawn.
Yeah, okay. You say that now. You say that now. I'm about to give you your first love. Stupid.
Current.
Karim Abate with Ask the Experts. Question for Hasim Rahman Jr. Hasim, in your last fight, right over here, you were unsuccessful. It was stopped. Did you feel like it was a premature stoppage in the last fight? And how important is it to now have a great performance after your first career loss?
Credit to Kenzie Morrison. He won the fight. The referee stopped it fair. But every article that covered the fight afterwards stated about it being stopped earlier, being premature. The commentators were saying that it was stopped earlier, premature. We've seen wars in the ring where that went well beyond what happened in that fight. And when I go back and watch the fight, you can see in the 4th round, I took a punch similar to the punch I took in the 5th round, and then proceeded to win the rest of the round. So who knows what would have happened if they would have let the fight keep going. But that's behind me now. That fight doesn't matter going into this fight. I learned from that. So now I gotta teach this little kid a lesson.
And a question for Jake. You were originally supposed to fight Tommy Fury. We know what happened there. I know it was important for you to fight a real boxer, but now you're fighting an opponent who's bigger than Tommy Fury, who has more professional experience. Is this a tougher fight than Tommy Fury?
Yeah, 100%. This is what I do. You know, I take hard challenges and challenge myself more and more with each fight, increase the level of opposition, and give the fans what they want. People say fight a real boxer. Here we go. This guy's bigger than me. He has more experience. There's no reason that I should win this, but I'm proving to the world and proving to the kids out there that if you set your mind to something and you truly believe in yourself and you're dedicated and you're mentally low-key have to be insane,
And you stack the deck. Don't forget you stack the deck. Don't forget you gotta stack that.
And that's what I'm proving.
You try to bring me down to cruiserweight,
next generation.
and then put a rehydration clause in the contract. Don't forget about none of that.
You already
Don't
making
forget none of that.
excuses.
It's taking a leave it.
Why you already
Don't
making
forget
excuses
that's taking a
for
leave it. That was taking
Why
a
you
leave
already
it.
making excuses?
I'm not making no excuses. I'm telling
Sounds
the
like
truth.
you're making
Because you
excuses.
leaving it out. Because you leaving it
All I
out.
hear
Let
is
the people
excuses
know.
as to why you
Let the
lost.
people know.
Excuses
You
as to-
always talk about, oh, he's bigger
All
than
of
me,
these things, bro.
oh, he's bigger than me, oh, he's a heavyweight, and all this and all
Don't
that.
say all
That's
that.
cut.
Taking
It's
all that
becoming
off
a
the tape.
cruiserweight.
You took all that off the tape
Thank
with
you.
the rehydration clause.
Thank you. So
Don't say he's
yeah.
bigger than you.
No, that's
Do
not,
say
you
that.
cannot do that.
That's not
That's
fact.
out.
That's not true.
That's out.
So will you not?
stuck in the deck.
You'll be 215 on the night of the fight.
You don't know how
And
much.
I'll be 195.
You don't know how much I'm gonna weigh on the night of the fight.
Why does that matter? 15 pounds ain't nothing. Now what?
Then why are there weight classes in boxing? Dumb fuck. Shut up. Whoever the fuck you are. Dumb shit. Shut up.
But you keep calling me a heavyweight.
Sit the fuck down.
But you keep calling me a heavyweight.
Recording me like a fan.
Why you keep
Recording
calling
me like
me
a fan.
heavyweight? Why you keep calling me a heavyweight? Talking about how I'm a heavyweight if you're not fighting me a heavyweight. If
What
you
weight-
was really that, you would have
what
fought
weight
me a
class?
heavyweight.
What weight
If you was
class?
really that, you would have fought me a
You
heavyweight.
sound so stupid.
If you was really that, you would have fought me a heavyweight. It wouldn't have been no, oh, let's bring him down. You seen I just weighed 224 in April. It wouldn't have been no, oh, bring him down to 200 and make sure he can't go up over 210. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. You put a 10-pound rehydration clause in a contract? Stop playing. Bruh, shut your ass up. Shut up.
Let me
Sit
just
this thing.
chime in just one quick second. Just wanted to ask
You
Amanda.
ain't fought nobody.
Wanted to ask Amanda a quick question because when the fight was announced, Jake had mentioned that his business partner Nikisa said, "Are you sure you want to do this 12-1?" I'm curious what your thought was when you found out that Jake was accepting a fight against Hasim Rahman Jr.
Well, at first I was like, I mean, it's tough. Boxing is in the game that you play. But then I thought and I said, Jake Paul is doing it for a reason. Jake Paul, he's, you know, we're so much alike in the game of boxing, opposite outside of it. But I know he has all the heart, courage to go out there. He's gotten better. I've seen him in the gym. Seen him.
What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.